Wanted to make this super-tastic video. Let everyone know that my room is clean. Keep my room clean so I can join Dr. Peterson's super awesome, postmodernly powerful, good hierarchy. Those people are all good. Obviously, the ones with unclean rooms are unacceptable and bad. We don't want them in our ideology group. That's not an ideology, by the way. That's how that goes. Just kidding. Let's stop with the jokes here. Stop with the clown shit. Basically, in order to avoid the ideology, you have to be all-inclusive. It's called being whole, holy, holy, H-O-L-Y. That's how that works. Being accepting and accommodating to people, whether they, have a messy hair or a messy room, or whether they're white or black or Jew or whatever else. You first off have to accept that kind of stuff so you don't get an unconscious bias, obviously. You don't run around with implicit bias that Dr. Peterson likes to deny. How convenient for him. Of course he wants to deny that. So basically, in order to get an all-inclusive type of what's it called? Whole ideology. It's not really an ideology. It's something that's existed since the beginning of the time. And basically how that works is that for every group and race and gender that we create, they're calling the genders a social construct in some places. And they kind of are in a lot of ways, because the universe doesn't really call us a boy or call us a girl. That's kind of names that we give for two different kinds of people. But let's rewind a little bit. Before you get two different kinds of people, you first off get division. Then you can have divisions of the I am. So if I just say that I am, then the whole world can say that they are too, and things just are. It's real simple. It's real plain, basic nature. To just be as we are, and not give anybody a hard time based on whether we're a boy or whether we're a girl. And you kind of have to dissolve the differences within. It's hard to get equality as a gift outwardly to you. First off, because if we're not equalized at the root, which is ourselves, if we're out there ranting and screaming and hollering, then nobody can really equalize us or give us equality that we're looking for, because we're not equalized at the root. So we're not being fair to other people, especially if we're screaming and hollering in a bunch of places we shouldn't, where we should be respectful and give everybody their turn equally to talk, whether they're talking about stuff we don't want to hear or not. That's really not in our opinion to judge if we later want equality. I had to scratch my nose there. Sorry, I do stuff like that sometimes. You'll notice in some of my videos, I don't give the perfect public appearance or the perfect video spectacle. I kind of do that on purpose. I'm just being as I am. I'm not really trying to create too much of a perfection facade, because that doesn't exist. Everyone poops. That's a pretty nasty thing, but everyone poops. That's a singularity. I'll get into singularities in a moment. But that's an undeniable truth, that everybody poops, and poops aren't that fantastic. Scratching your nose probably isn't as nasty as a poop in the toilet. But lo and behold, everybody poops. So, nobody's perfect. So, let's backtrack a little bit here. Before we have an I am boy and I am girl, or I am Batman, we have to have division. So between boy and girl, that's one division there. Then if you add a Batman, that's another division. Now we can't have people just going all crazy and asking for equality if they're going to sit there and buck the reality. Because you can't just buck the reality and create a whole bunch of divisions and then fortify and solidify the divisions and then sit there and ask for equality. That's totally crazy. That'll never work, and all we'll keep getting is more and more. You'll get an anti-ideology. You really just start double up and stacking what I call black hole duplicates. So you get like an anti-group, a group that's against groups, or stupid stuff like that, or you get a anti-gender, somebody who's against genders, but is a gender in itself, an ideology in itself. So you really can't just go making up your own thing. You kind of have to jive with the reality here. And the reality is that before we have I am boy, I am girl, I am Batman, I am Robin Hood, there's going to be divisions created. And that's just how that works. There's not really anything we can do about it. That's just what it is. So what we do is we subtract off the knowledge. You remember Adam and Eve, they ate the apple, they got the knowledge, they realized they were naked, they realized they were boy and girl. So we have to take away the knowledge of that and sort of equalize the matter within ourselves. That's really the only place matter can be equalized, because out here in the world, matter can never be equalized. Not that matter is relative subjective, it's that matter can never be equalized, because matter always comes in twos and nuances, and that brings about a polarity of, good or bad or this or that, which is all more knowledge. The more we attach to that knowledge, the more we get stuck under the authority of matter. The more we get stuck in our knowledge, and then we're not able to come out of the knowledge. We don't want to be accommodating. We don't want to be versatile. Then people start trying to pour on all this grit stuff and all this resilience and all this tolerance. It's way before tolerance. You don't sit there and cast all these grit spells and tolerance spells for each individual situation you meet. You prepare yourself at the root, and then you can go out into the world and be all accommodating. You can have mercy, grace, and humility. You already have that all in advance. You don't have to go up to a situation and be like, I really don't like this. And sit here and have a mental struggle with yourself with that inner critic voice. There shouldn't be really any of that inner chatter going on. Once somebody's cleared up, they've done the holy war inside to become whole. That's really what the jihad is. The inner jihad is becoming whole within. So once somebody does that, then they're able to meet all these other things in the world that aren't really a huge deal. And basically, one of the ways to do that is that when I am nothing and I place the nothing here, then I allow everything else out in the world to be, without my conflicting, without me going and getting all upset really about it. And then my emotions just kind of unfurling and me going flying away with my emotions and coming unglued, like happens in a lot of places. You don't want all that. You want to have some balance there, so that you're not just habitually, automatically taken off your center, off your balance. So I put the nothing here. All the knowledge of myself isn't stuff that I attach to. So then I can accommodate and enjoy what other people have to say and what other people are doing. Whereas it won't be a comparison and competition thing, where I won't feel like, oh, they're trying to outshine me, or oh, they think this and they think that, or oh, that's hubris. I think we should be really encouraging of each other. I don't really think there's like a hubris or all this ego chatter talk that people go on and on about. Some people earn the encouragement that they deserve. So I think it's good to encourage people, and not to set myself up to where my ego feels inferior or feels some type of way about somebody, wanting to celebrate their own accomplishments and their own successes. which is okay. But again, they have to be mindful as well as to what all that can do, because that can start to corrupt their system with empowerment. Basically, they're saying that power causes brain damage in science. I get you the science article for that. Empowerment causes a lot of conflict within and corruption within. Did I say that right? Empowerment causes a lot of conflict and corruption within ourselves. So the more I empower, the more egotistical I get. And that probably all starts at like pride. And that pride can build all the way into megalomania and narcissism. A lot of people out there, including the psychologists, are unconscious narcissists. Because all minds are the same, really. A mind is a mind is a mind. That's how all these minds can relate to each other, is because they're all the same. And like Carl Jung said, what we deny in ourselves, we see out in the world. So I don't really have a problem with these narcissists and things like that. I can kind of handle my own in that, because I don't deny that it's in myself. So then I don't deny it's in myself. I've understood it. I understand what it is. And once you understand what something is, you can troubleshoot it. You can work to dissolve it, and you can work to, bring it to a closure in gracefulness without, combating it head on to head. But if you see a lot of these psychologists and even scientists, they don't want to give up their beliefs, their belief systems. They become narcissistic, because what that means is that they'll lose control. Now, I don't agree with physics. I think physics is a reflection illness, like I said, and time causes illusion. Linear time is basically a bunch of good, great illusions that really don't mean what we think they mean. Because as you see, the good things can go bad, and bad things can become good. So we never really know. Linear time is kind of an illusion like that. So, I don't really get down with physics and relativity like that at all. And I haven't been like that since like 2013. I kind of had a bunch of epiphanies and realizations. I was just kind of like, all this is like silliness. It's not real, but we think it is. And we put a lot of emotion into it, which makes it seem even more real. So since I don't agree with that or with science, then off the inverse, scientists will be like, oh, well, then don't use our science. If you don't agree, then just don't go to the hospital and die. If you want to be religious and you want to say prayers and die, don't come and use our technology. That's narcissism, okay? That's when the narcissist is losing control. And when they lose control, they start to bully people. That's how that goes. So you can see that in somebody who might have narcissism that they're not yet conscious of or haven't, evaluated in themselves. That's the kind of stuff they'll do. So that's that bit apart. And then the singularities, where everybody is equal, is like what I was saying earlier. Everybody poops. So we have a singularity there. There's nobody outside of that circle that doesn't poop. Everybody has to get rid of the waste. And then death is another truth. Death is an inarguable truth equal for all. It's a whole holy truth. Everybody will experience death. Some other singularities that we can see is that we may not be the same ideology or same gender, but we're all looking for a way to make this world work. We're all looking for a way to get along and a way to have a peaceful world. So there's a singularity there underneath all that chaos and difference. And the singularities are really what put order back into things. We all want to live, laugh, and love, I can't say that there's really anyone outside of that. If there is, then, maybe that's some of the world that we need to address, more so than all these genders and ideology things. So if you can bring things to a singularity and find similarity and in things, then you have an easier time of making peace no matter where you go. We're all just looking for the truth. We're all just looking to get a little bit more wisdom each day. We're all looking to grow more and more each day and progress. Nobody's really looking to not find a better way tomorrow than what they did today, or what's going on today, or what has gone in the past. I can't say that anyone wants to go back to the Dark Ages and start doing crusades and all that craziness that they did in the past. I can't say that there's anyone out there that would want to do that. And if there is, please just let me know in the comment section. And, that way I could be wrong. So, even the people that are doing this, wars on religion, they're obviously confused. They don't want to live in a time like that where they go to war and they have to kill and destroy, but they don't know what else to do. So they're kind of confused. You can say we're all confused pretty much. We all have ignorance. Ignorance is what allows the element of surprise. So don't be afraid if anyone says you're ignorant. Everybody has ignorance, and they'll have ignorance till death because they'll never be all-knowing. So that's another way we can sort of unify things at a level of singularity. The shadow side seems to have a lot of what these singularities are. And if anyone knows me, I post more about this on my Facebook and social media than I do really making YouTube videos. So I've talked about the shadow and stuff in the past. And a lot of my work since 2013 is just stuff that I leave for free on my social media. I've never really gone into making videos or charging people for lectures. I just, wasn't that type of person. That seems to be more of what people kind of enjoy though these days. I'm not sure why. When, these things can be all, given out for free. There's not really a competitive nature to it. But what seems to happen is that these people that are getting more popular, they sort of get, popular, and then they sort of get in the way. They sort of start speaking nonsense. Dr. Peterson is one of them. He says a lot of contradictory things, but he just spews a lot of rhetoric that people like to hear. And if you notice, people just like to listen.